Now, let's introduce the woman at the helm of this event and the organization it benefits, Project SAFE's Executive Director, the wonderful Joan Pritte. With much credit to Joan, Project SAFE has grown from a small crisis response organization to one that provides comprehensive and innovative services at the forefront of the movement to end domestic violence.
Joan has received both state and national awards for her work at Project SAFE, but this year she took on a new challenge, dancing, for which she is, according to the script, unlikely to garner any awards despite excellent instruction from her teacher, Ron Putman. Ron teaches ballroom, country, and West Coast swing, and also dances competitively. He has served as either instructor or judge in every single Dancing with the Athens Stars show.
Performing our first exhibition, Joan and Ron will dance a West Coast swing to Showstopper by Brandon and Lee.
What I'm about to tell you's gonna turn you on your head, 'cause you gotta understand, You see me as a failure 'cause I'm cleaning up your mess, but I'd look harder in that dress, Showstopper, 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 showstopper. No, 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 you don't know me like you think you know me. Oh, 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 I'm a showstopper. Hey, 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 don't you treat me like a doorstopper. Showstopper, showstopper. If you like me, let me hear you say me like you. Let me turn you on your head. You're all uptight and mighty. Let me cut you down to size you like a yummy piece of toasted bread.
Oh my God!
You've said for a few years that you wanted to teach Joan West Coast swing. Did the experience measure up to your expectations?
How long do we have? Okay, so Joan is really a dancer. She just didn't know it, but she has to lead. So that's why you saw me spinning across the floor. We did have some setbacks. She would go to the shelter where there are a lot of people, and she'd bring me the flu. But overall, we had a blast. There's some things that I can't tell you. It was for an adult audience that happened during practice, but we'll leave it at that. So, but now, if Sean's still around, if I could get Julianne Hough on the stage, it'd be a complete package.
Okay.
Now it's just...
I think it's Joan. I think it's your turn. I'll just exit it.
Okay, my heart rate is still like up to here. I don't mind saying that that was completely and utterly scary. I have been calling it my karma cleanse for 10 years of twisting people's arm to be in the show. But I've been thinking about a show a number of years ago where I ran into one of the stars, and it wasn't even a week before the event. And he was telling me how nervous and scared he was. And he said, I know it's just 2 minutes, but I swear it feels like the longest 2 minutes of my life. And I can relate now. But at the time, when he told me that, my mind went back to another conversation where someone had told me almost the exact same thing. It was a woman who was describing a time when her husband held her at gunpoint. She talked about how he put the gun, pressed it against her temple. She was holding their little baby in their lap, and he dropped the gun down to the baby, and then back up to her head, and then back down to their child, all the while saying these horrible things. And there was a clock on the wall, she said. And so she was looking at the clock, and she was trying to control her breathing to stay calm for her baby. And she was watching the seconds go by, and she said, it was the longest 2 minutes of my life. She also said that Project Safe saved her life. In this room, throughout this community, across the state, and even across the country, there are thousands and thousands of people whose lives have been changed and saved because of the services of Project Safe. Now, the funding for those services, about half of it comes from state and federal grants, some of which are seeming a little less certain than they had been. The other half of the funding for those services comes from the generosity of this community, from the revenue of our thrift store, from our donors, and from our fundraiser events. Most of it from this event, much of it on this night. Almost all of it through the votes that you give to our competing teams. So let me tell you where we are in the voting right now. Hang on. So for the first 9 years, I always kept it there because I'd be dressed up, and women's dress-up clothes, we don't have pockets. And now I got pockets, and I was going to put it in my back pocket, and I thought, I don't want to jinx it. After all this time, I better just keep it where I usually keep it, right? Okay, so as of this morning, here's where we were. In 5th place, Team 2, Ginger and Beth. In 4th place, Team 10, Chris and Becky. In 3rd place, Team 1, Will and Emily. In 2nd place, Team 6, Ari and Lauren. And in 1st place, Team 9, Kelly and Sean. Okay, that was this morning. As of 5 o'clock this afternoon, in 5th place, Team 3, Wingate and Caitlin. In 4th place, Team 7, Kirsten and Una. In 3rd place, Team 1, Will and Emily. In 2nd place, but getting awfully close still, Team 6, Ari and Lauren, and just hanging on by a thread, Team number 9, Kelly and Sean. Right, so here's the deal. If the team that you're rooting for was on that list of people I read off, then you can help ensure their victory by making a contribution here tonight in their honor. And if the team that you're here to cheer on wasn't on that list, I guarantee you it is still a close enough contest that you can bring your team up to the victory podium. So you can change the results of the event tonight, but here's the thing. Your voting in the upcoming intermission is going to do so much more for that. You have got the chance to change somebody's situation. From a situation of danger and despair and hopelessness to one of hope and safety through our crisis intervention services, our shelter and our hotline and our financial assistance and our emergency relocation and our advocacy. Like the woman who was in shelter yesterday telling her own perilous story about having been held at gunpoint just recently. But it doesn't even stop there. Not only do you get to change someone's situation, you can change the course of somebody's whole life, because some of our services last for years. Our educational support, our long-term advocacy, our housing services. And so like the immigrant mother and daughter abused for so long, who we helped through temporary protective order and divorce and the long, slow immigration process, and they just got their visas. Their lives are going to be different for generations. So that's the power of your contributions tonight. We're about to take a 15-minute voting intermission. Refresh your beverages. We have bars downstairs, we have bars upstairs, we have a voting table upstairs, and we have floaters walking around in blue aprons. They will take cash, they will take credit card, they will take check, and you know that you are changing someone's life, that 90 cents of every dollar you contribute goes directly to our programs and services, that 100% of it stays here and helps our community. So go on your break, vote generously, and we'll see you after the intermission.
The lemon tree cries.